Greetings, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to this video in which I would like to explain a little bit better the concerns which I raised in the first video. And in that video, which I encourage you very much to watch, I expressed difficulty believing that the system of timekeeping which exists in nature could have come about by chance. So in this video, I will describe the conditions which had to be met for such a system to come into existence, so that you yourself can determine if those conditions could have been met by chance or if perhaps there was a design involved. So if you remember, if we just go to the board, I indicated and demonstrated that it is possible to determine the number of days in a year by dividing the difference between the time that it takes the sun to complete one cycle and the time that it takes the star or the sky to complete one cycle. So if we may describe that as a sleep, then and designate it with the letter S, then the sleep would be equal to 24 hours minus the hours in a sidereal day. So the number of days in a year we indicated was the number of hours in a sidereal day divided by the sleep, and that would be hours in sidereal day and divided by the sleep S, which you can obtain from that formula, would give you a number. Let's say it would give you a certain number, which is the number of days that we've been told is the number of days in a year. So that number which it gives you, let's call it 5. That number, the product of this division has to be such that this number, for this number there exists another number n, which is a whole number. This n has to be a whole number in order for the system to exist. And there must exist a number n, which when multiplied by 5 gives you yet another whole number. It has to be a whole number. Not only that, this whole number n must be such that when it is divided by n plus 1 also gives you another whole number, let's say q. So this is the condition that had to be met, and this is the condition which was met by nature in order to give us a system of timekeeping that we have. So for our particular case, n was equal to 293, and m was equal to 107,016. And when m is divided by n plus 1, m when divided by n plus 1 was equal to 107,016 when divided by 293 plus 1. The result of it was 364. This is the condition that had to be met in order for there to exist a system of timekeeping such as I have described. But it didn't have to be just these numbers. It is true that any combination of numbers could have given us a system that we can use for timekeeping. So the key thing that was needed is that the sleep has to be such that the years per cycle is a whole number and the days per year is also a whole number. Any combination of a whole number of days per year and years per cycle could have given us a valid timekeeping system. It only does happen that what we received was that days per year was 364 and years per cycle was 294. So in our particular case, 294, this axis was 294 and this side was 364. But the main thing which I really wanted to highlight is that any number, any combination of numbers which falls anywhere in the space between the two whole numbers, like these nodes. Anything that falls outside of those nodes could not have given us a system of timekeeping that works for human beings. And the point which I'd really like to highlight is that if this was a random process, the likelihood of this combination falling in the intermediate space between these dots is much greater than the probability that it would fall exactly at a node. But in our particular case, it did fall at a node, and so the question is, what is the probability that it fell at a node purely by chance? And that is what I have a lot of difficulty believing. Thank you so much for watching, and have a good day.